Again, this is Kent McMullen at the National Weather Service, and this is the weekly weather briefing for January 24th, 2019. Let's go ahead and get started with this. The highlights, things we'll be going over. We'll do a recap of what happened last night with the rainfall and what kind of creek and river flooding we have going on. We'll also talk about the cold and dry conditions that are going to be in store for us for the next week at least. This will include a few weak cold fronts, high temperatures at or below normal. We'll also have some pretty cold wind chills over the next few mornings. And then we'll also talk about the next storm system that will be coming in early to midweek next week. There is possibility of some winter precipitation with that. Last night, we did have quite a bit of rain that moved across north and central Georgia. You can see here on the graphic, we have anywhere from 2 to 3 inches across areas from Rome, Carrollton, Atlanta, even down from Americus up to just north of Dublin. But you can say generally everybody got at least an inch of rain across the county warning area last night. This has pushed several creeks and rivers into flood, and it's some of them that aren't in flood right now, but a few are expected to go into flood later today or tonight and tomorrow. But at this point, only minor flooding is expected. We're not expecting anything moderate. Now, for the next couple days, we are expecting cold and dry conditions. We did have that one cold front move across us last night, and that has now pushed off the coast. And if you look in that graphic that's in the left-hand part of your screen, there's another cold front up in Missouri that is going to be moving toward us. In fact, it will move into the state on Friday, and this is going to reinforce the cold air that moved over us today with a little colder air coming in on the heels of some northwest winds. Only a few clouds are expected with this front. We are not expecting any precipitation with this front. This also will create some colder temperatures early Friday morning. We'll see wind chills push into the teens and 20s across much of the region for Friday morning. In fact, we'll see wind chills in the 20s and some upper teens at least going into the weekend. What we have for us, a lot of cold, dry air that's coming straight out of Canada, across the upper Midwest and down to the southeast United States. This pattern is going to continue with us into next week, possibly even beyond. There will be weak cold fronts that will move across us, even going into this weekend. These fronts will continue to reinforce the cold air. Only a few clouds expected with these fronts as they move through. Temperatures at least into early to midweek. We're looking at temperatures at or below normal going into at least Wednesday as far as we can see. Now, the next storm system, we're going to move ahead all the way into Tuesday, January 29th. We have another cold front. This one's going to tap into some Gulf moisture that will be coming up into Georgia on Tuesday, bringing us a chance of precipitation. As you also see, there's that cold arrow behind that cold front, bringing in some colder air. In fact, that cold front will move through Tuesday night with another reinforcing cold front coming into the state on Wednesday. Now, as far as precipitation, this is where it gets a little tricky. We're looking at, for Tuesday, a chance to likely probabilities of precipitation across most of north and central Georgia. The highest probabilities will be across North Georgia Tuesday, and as up there in the higher elevations of the mountains, where we will see a mix of rain and snow, possibly even all snow, but the majority of north and central Georgia is seeing nothing but rain. At this point, it is way too early to put snow amounts on any of these forecasts next week, but it does bear keeping an eye on. Now, if we go into Tuesday night, you see those probabilities drop off into the slight chance, like 20%, but you're also seeing the graphic next to it that whatever does fall will be either a mix of rain, snow, or mix of rain or all snow across North Georgia. Again, way too early to put any kind of snow amounts on this forecast, but it does bear keeping an eye out on it. So that was it in a nutshell. We're looking for a cold pattern to continue with a series of cold fronts reinforcing the cold air through at least the next 7 days. We will have our coldest wind chills over the next few days, the coldest being Friday morning, where wind chills will drop into the teens and 20s across much of the region. In fact, we'll see wind chills even still in the 20s come Saturday morning. Temperatures, at least through the middle of the next week, will be at or below normal. Now, as these weak little cold fronts move across the area or through the weekend, only a few clouds are expected. We're not expecting any precipitation with these cold fronts. However, the one that's coming in on Tuesday could bring in some wintry precipitation. So keep your eye out, keep checking those forecasts, and that rounds it up. So we do have the briefing. This briefing is already uploaded on the web page. I do have a question here. Any thoughts of an additional call as we approach Tuesday night, or is it too early? Right now, it is too early. I think we'll be looking a little closer at that. If these models continue to show the same scenario, we may be looking at some additional briefings coming in maybe later in the weekend or possibly early next week. I'm going to unmute the lines, so give me a second here, and then if you have any questions, please ask, but just give me a second here.